Welcome to Real Talk with Pam, the show where authenticity meets conversation. Today, we are going to be talking about Gen Z Deconstructed. I have with me two incredible ladies who are going to help us understand what the Gen Z generation is all about. So, without further ado, let's dive in. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ma.
So, I would love you to introduce yourselves, what you do, how old you are.
Okay, my name is Peace Ojani. I am 23 years old and I'm a law student of the University of Lagos and also an advocate for the girl child.
Amazing.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Amanda. I'm also in my final year, Faculty of Law, University of Lagos. Yeah, and I'm 22 years old.
Fantastic. So I'm really excited about this conversation because being a mother of a Gen Z, quite invested in understanding the Gen Z generation better. And I think that there are a lot of misconceptions, or there's a lot of talk about this generation being very different from any other generation. So I'd love for us to unpack some of the things that I think people want to know about the Gen Z generation. So, for starters, I'd like you to define what is the Gen Z generation. I'll start with you first, Amanda.
Okay, so to go by dictionary definition, Gen Zs are people who were born between the years 1997 and 2012. Yes, so these are a group of young people who are very bold and very audacious, and they like to take life with this idea of just taking risks and exploring. They don't like to be boxed. So Gen Zs are very creative and they like to explore and they like to try out new things.
Great.
I think Amanda said a lot, but we are very blunt. Gen Zs are blunt, Gen Zs are audacious, and I think they are the life of the party, really.
Great. Okay. So, how do you think that they differ from, let's say, my generation, which I'm in my 50s, and or millennials, which is the next generation nearest to you? How do you differ in from the millennials, for instance?
Our priorities are different. Like we prioritize ourselves, our mental health. We cannot be in a toxic workspace. Let me use the workspace for example. We cannot be in a toxic workspace, but millennials can, they can rough it. But we are always, I can't be here, I can't be here. So yes, that's one important difference between Gen Zs and millennials.
Okay.
I would say that Gen Zs also like to dare status quo. They won't just accept that, oh, because this thing has been this way for so many years, let's just keep going with the flow. They would want to question it if it's something that is uncomfortable for them or something that they feel like really needs to be changed. They'll question it and they would seek ways to actually change the system.
Right.
So,
Okay. Yeah, sorry, did I cut you off? What
no,
else
it's
did you want to
fine.
say? Okay. So Peace, you just said that Gen Zs don't like to be in a toxic workplace.
Yeah.
So one of the, I guess, criticisms or common threads that I hear about Gen Zs is that they are, for lack of a better word, and we're talking very candidly today, lazy because they don't want to work. They want the soft life. So they shroud it in sort of the excuse of we don't want to be in a toxic workplace. Can you offer a different perspective to that? So what does a toxic workplace mean to you? And do you agree that Gen Zs want a soft life?
Okay, first things first, we are not lazy. I think we confuse being in a particular space.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really like the 9 to 5 life. We don't want
Okay.
restrictions. Like we said before, we're creative, and Gen Zs can do more than one job. Like they can take on one, two, three jobs because we
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of social media managers, we have influencers, we
Mm-hmm.
have graphic designers. So they don't do one thing. They just don't want to be boxed, but they are
Right.
not lazy. They can do a lot of things at the same time. But doing the 9 to 5 and just for the toxic workspace, We have bosses who who don't have empathy. They could just tell you you have to do this and you must deliver now. You know, we already said Gen Zs, we like to prioritize ourselves. So we don't want a situation whereby our boss is telling us, you have to do this, you have to do it now, and whether or not you are good, you just have to do it. So yes.
Right. So what I'm hearing more of is that Gen Zs are more entrepreneurial.
Yes.
Okay. So, but for those who are in a workspace that work 9 to 5, so if you have a deadline that needs to be delivered that day, and your boss says to you, "Well, Peace, I have a there's a deadline that needs to be delivered on that day." Would you say that was toxic for your boss to say that to you, or it is realistic and fair for your boss to say, "Well, there's a deadline for today. Can you deliver on it?"
Yes, that's actually fair.
Okay.
But when we have like situations where the boss is always doing that, like you don't tell us beforehand that we have to do something, all of a sudden you're saying you have to deliver it now.
Right.
Yes, so I think that's not cool. But then you can, of course, tell me to deliver today and I'll do that. But doing it all the time, I
Right.
don't think is.
Okay. Okay. Understood. What about you, Amanda? Do you have anything to add on to that?
Well, okay, what I would add is like another perspective or what a toxic workplace could be like.
Okay.
So it can also be working in an environment or just in a career that you're not necessarily happy with. So I think the older generations are okay with staying the same job that they hate for years just to make ends meet. Gen Z actually want to derive pleasure from their work.
Yeah.
So if they're not happy with what they are doing, they're likely to start seeking ways to get out of it,
Right.
to find something that actually pleases them.
Sure. Okay. How has technology shaped the Gen Z generation?
So many ways. Okay, I'll talk about how it has given this generation a lot of exposure um, to people of different cultures, to different ways of living, to different opportunities. So we're able to have we're able to dream big, regardless of our background or where we're coming from. We can see things from a much broader perspective.
Right.
I think that has influenced the way Gen Zs think in general, because we're now not just influenced by our immediate environment, we're also influenced by people from different places. I think it also helps us to have access to a lot of things. Like we can learn things not necessarily from being in the traditional school system. Or you see people now that are living in careers that they didn't go to school for. They probably took some course online, and all of a sudden they are breaking into the tech space.
Yeah.
So yes, technology has done that for us.
And I think also like access to people. I remember I had a conversation with someone I really like on LinkedIn. And normally, I'm in Nigeria, this person is in the UK.
Right.
I don't think I would have that conversation. But it was really good. We talked and access to people. Technology has done so much to Gen Zs that we can relate with anybody. And yeah, that's really good for us.
That's great. So, what are the downsides you think that there has been with technology like social media for the Gen Z generation? Do you think that there is, as much as there has been good, what are some of the things that you think that has not been positive or a little bit more challenging for in the Gen Z space?
So I think the cancel culture.
Right.
We cannot just post your picture. You cannot just talk about something, give your opinion. People just want, if your opinion is not aligning with theirs, it might not be bad. They just cancel you. For
Right.
example, you're saying, I don't think all men are the same. You could just post it on social media and a lot of people will come for you and they're like, oh no, you know what, you're not the girly girl and all of that. So yes,
Sorry, what is the girly girl?
Oh.
I'm learning new slangs today. What is the girly girl?
I mean, I'm all for girls.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, so they tend to cancel people a lot. You can post something and you don't fit in their body type, body frame, and they are like body shaming you.
Right.
So they bully a lot on social media. So
right.
I think using social media also has this way of sucking you in, whereby you begin to see social media as real life. So a lot of Gen Zs, they are living their lives more on social media than they actually are in real life.
Well,
They have more social media friends without actually
Right.
having depth in real relationships. The thing Peace said about like canceling. So they are quick to cancel people. They are quick to listen to their social media fave, and they will go ahead and cancel real people in real life who they probably shouldn't be canceling. Maybe it's something they could actually just talk out. So I think social media does that. It will suck you in, and you begin to lose sight of real life things. Yeah, I think that's one of the dangers.
That's an excellent point you made, Amanda, because I find in my own experience of being a Gen Z mom and relating to other moms with Gen Zs that one of the common threads that we talk about is that the Gen Zs are not necessarily great with relationships. And I know I'm generalizing here, but this is my experience. So obviously, not all Gen Zs are like that. But I do find that with the advent of social media, a lot of younger people in the Gen Z generation are much more comfortable behind the screen and making friends online. So when you do get together, um, they tend to lack social skills. Would you say that is um, a fair representation of Gen Zs? Are you guys good at relationships, making new friends, having the right relationship skills?
I don't know if I would say it's a fair representation of Gen Zs in general. If I would speak for myself, I know it's something I have struggled with. Now, whether I would attribute that to spending a lot of time online, I don't actually think so. Because when I struggled with social skills, I wasn't online that much. That was something that started when I was much younger. But I would also say that I know Gen Zs who are great with social skills. Peace here is one of those. So I don't think it's a general problem that results from spending time online from my own experience with Gen Zs.
Right.
so I think people are introverted. So now what social media does for them is to help them, make friends that they cannot make in real life. So Amanda said that you are living your life on social media, right? So they've not worked on their own what they are lacking. And then so social media is already helping them feel like they can make friends without, making actual friends. And then we have extroverted people, extroverted Gen Zs, who beyond social media, they have real friends. And then social media is a great tool to help them build better friendships, better connections. So it just depends on your personality beyond Gen Z and social media. It depends on your personality, how you grew up, your experiences, and all of that.
Sure. Okay. Do you think that there is too much information out there? I guess, like when I was growing up, and even up until maybe the millennial generation, there seems to be more information online. Being a mom myself, I remember growing up and, you know, going to university, not even university, when I went abroad for secondary school. And I remember my mom saying, and this would make you cringe and laugh because my mom says, if a boy touches you like this, you get pregnant. Okay. So that kept me on the straight and narrow. There was no internet for me to Google and say, is this actually really true? But like even things about relationships, sex, it's all out there. You can just Google it. I mean, like kids of 10, kids of even younger can go on the internet and talk and look at how, sex and how do you get pregnant or whatever. So there's that idea that there is nothing that is sacred anymore. And I find that that could be quite a negative impact of the Gen Z generation because there is just too much information out there. Do you think that that's true? And does the Gen Z generation, I know it's a wide range in terms of the age, is are you guys able to handle it in a mature way? Is there enough maturity for that much information?
Okay, so I would say that I don't think the information being out there is a problem. I don't think there's too much information out there. I think the responsibility is on parents of younger Gen Zs to actually take charge of how much their children use the internet, and also take charge of being the first person that explains certain things to them. I don't see why a child should be finding out about sex, for example, from the internet when they have parents at home. I think it's the responsibility of the parents to actually sex educate the child, as opposed to them having to go on the internet to discover new things. I don't think the problem is that the information is out there, although I do see the negative tendency. I see the tendency for abuse, but I think it's something that can be managed. So I think parents should just take charge in that regard instead of blaming the internet for everything.
All right. Okay.
Okay. As an African Gen Z, yes,
Mm-hmm.
I believe in community raising.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that there's a responsibility on the wider community beyond the parents, the school, the church, the even social media, because there are real people there posting all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that we should regulate these things. There
Mm-hmm.
should be there should be sense of responsibility on everybody. You don't just post everything. You don't just put everything. And yes, the information out there,
You think it's a
yes, I
lot?
think it's a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
there needs to be a balance, because social media is great. It
Mm-hmm.
helps people. You can find out anything, but we have the negative side, which I think,
Right.
yeah, is a
Yeah.
lot.
So, as much as I agree with you, Amanda, that it is the responsibility of the parents, I absolutely agree with that. But, like you said, we're living in a very tech savvy generation where you can hide whatever you want to hide from your parents. A lot of kids have locks on their phones, encrypt things you can't even
Yeah.
see. Do you understand? So, if you want to find something out, you can't find something out, no matter how much the parent tries to navigate your child. So I do think, yes, it is the onus of the parents, but I do agree as well with Peace that there is a bit too much information out there. That being said, we'll take a quick break right now. We'll come back and continue this amazing conversation with these two great ladies. Welcome back to Real Talk with Pam. Just before the break, we were talking about Gen Z Deconstructed, and we're still here with Amanda and Peace. So, Amanda, I'll start with you first. I want to ask you about mental health. I think it's one of those topics that the Gen Z generation has brought to the forefront, and you hear it all the time amongst your generation. What is pertinent to this generation about mental health, and how have you guys been able to navigate that?
Okay. So talking about mental health, I don't think it's something that began with the Gen Z generation. I feel like older generations must have gone through their own fair share of mental health struggles, but then the Gen Z are just trying to let the world know that there doesn't have to be a stigma around it. So, as opposed to hiding the fact that you're going through something mentally, or just tagging it that only mentally unstable people, or making it seem like just something that someone should be ashamed of, or people that belong in an asylum go through. They're trying to let people know that people everywhere go through mental health issues, things like anxiety, things like depression, and um, also with bringing it to the forefront, like with making people know that there's mental health. I would also say that the mental health issues have also increased due to some things like social media, for example. Um, we talked earlier about people not having real connections with people, even though people interact with a larger amount of people because of social media. Statistics have shown that there's a lot of loneliness. There's a lot of people saying that they feel alone, even though we're saying that we're creating safer spaces. But in reality, people feel like, oh, there's so many people around, but I still feel lonely. And I think that leads to a lot of depression, anxiety as well, and how to navigate it. I think with navigating mental health, something that is very important is first of all knowing that it is something that can be overcome. It's very dangerous to begin to make your mental health struggle your identity and make it seem like I am a depressed person. Therefore, depression is the fullness of who I am, as opposed to understanding that, okay, I'm going through something in this moment, but it's something that can be overcome. I think that with sharing our mental health struggles, there's a comfort that can come from knowing that, okay, I'll tell people that I'm depressed and they will pity me, they will show me attention, they'll be checking in saying, oh, Amanda, how are you doing? Amanda, I hope you're better now, and all of these things. I think there's a kind of comfort that we can find in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there has to be strength in picking ourselves up from that place,
Right.
whether that is going to therapy. Therapy is expensive, so maybe you just need to talk to a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Don't isolate. Do things like get up, walk,
Mm-hmm.
actually open up your curtains and have sunlight enter your room.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah.
don't allow yourself to stay in that place and take it as a thing that you can't ever get out of. You actually have to take charge and tell yourself that, okay, we have to get rid of this thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
What about you, Peace?
Yeah, I mean, Amanda said a lot, and I'm sharing my story with anxiety and depression. I stayed down for a long time because it looked normal. Like a lot of people were talking about, like, oh, okay, I'm going through this and all of that. So I was like, okay. I mean, people would just let me be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was raped. Because when I don't want to have serious conversations with my family members, and they're like, oh, peace, I'm like, I mean, I was raped and all of that. So it felt like I was just staying there. I was just staying in the darkness and not wanting to come out of it because it is the new normal. But then
Right.
navigating anxiety, having friends like Amanda, having other people let me know that you can actually get up.
Mm-hmm.
This is not your identity. You can. There's more to you than I have anxiety. I am depressed. I started failing in school, not failing, but yeah, getting bad grades because of my anxiety. And one day, one of my lecturers called me, and we were talking. So he said, "This is not your identity. You need to get past this." And that semester, I had the best results I have ever had in my entire school journey, and it was really good. So we need to move past the, oh, this is my identity. I have
Right.
anxiety and all of that.
Right. Okay, so what I'm hearing from you guys is that mental health is real and there are ways around it, but we shouldn't stay down because sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think sometimes the Gen Zs can use the mental health thing as a crutch and say,
Yeah.
oh, my mental health, recognizing that yes, it does exist, but not to use it as an excuse that you can actually get up and do something about it.
Yeah.
Right. Which leads me to my next question, which is, do you think that Gen Zs are quite resilient or they tend to, again, I'm generalizing, but it's for you to debunk it. They can, do you think they're resilient or a lot of Gen Zs want soft life? So, you know, a lot of my generation and maybe the millennials, we're used to sort of saying, you know what, if you get criticized, you can turn it around and say, okay, that's constructive criticism, I'll take that. But my experience of talking to some Gen Zs has been when if you point something out to them, they say, oh, um, I, you know, I don't want to, you're invading my space right now. I don't want to take that on me. And it's almost like a personal, they feel like you're attacking them personally rather than listening to the message that is trying to be conveyed and then making that change for their own good. So do you think that there is a place to toughen up?
Well, I want to start by saying being resilient and wanting a soft life, they are not mutually exclusive.
Right.
Gen Zs do want a soft life, but I think that Gen Zs can be very resilient as well. I think the difference is yes, Gen Zs can be resilient, but they don't like to take nonsense unnecessarily. They wouldn't want to stay in the same. They wouldn't want to be treated badly and just take it just for the sake of taking it. With the thing you said about criticism, it's true that criticism, whether packaged properly or not, you can take it and do whatever with it. But I think Gen Zs will not like to be disrespected, especially not because of their age. Because I think that is Gen Z's major problem, where you're in a professional setting with someone and we're Africans, we're in Nigeria. So there's this whole sense of, oh, I have your age mates in the house. And because of that, they'll be talking to you like you're a child or just treating you badly. I think that's Gen Z's major problem when it comes to interacting with older people in the workplace. It's just, don't treat me like a child. I got here because I earned my spots here, because I am capable. So you treat me as a professional who is worthy of being here, the same respect that you would treat every other colleague that isn't a Gen Z.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like collabo, honestly. Because it depends on what you want them to take in. You can't
Right.
tell me to take disrespect because you're older than me, right? I want a soft life. I still have things that, oh, I still push through. You know, life is challenging. It's not all rosy for Gen Zs too, because we're navigating bad leadership, navigating, you know, different seasons of our lives. We're growing up, we're, you know, liking somebody, you know, different things happen. So it depends on what we are taking in. But it's still the disrespect Amanda talked about. I cannot take it too. So, but then we take criticism, depends on how the other person is bringing it to us. So I
Okay.
think that's important, how you pass your message to.
Okay, so as much as you don't want to be disrespected, do you guys respect your elders or do you respect other people?
Yes. Speaking for myself as a
Okay.
Gen Z, I do respect other people. I respect people for being people first and
Yes.
foremost. Like, even if you're not older than me, for the mere fact that you're a human being, you're very much deserving of my respect.
Yeah.
And that's what I wish the older people would recognize too. Because I
Right.
am younger doesn't mean you treat me as less of a person.
Fair
I'm
enough.
still as much of a person as you are or as your mates are to you. So, yes, I respect people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do too.
Great. Okay. So let's talk about Gen Z slangs because this is something that I'd like to learn more. I'm a mother of a Gen Z. So one of the things that I'll tell you that drives me crazy about one of the very few Gen Z slangs I know is it's not that deep. Okay? So, why do you guys think that there's nothing in life that is not that deep? Like, you say something to your child or a Gen Z, they'll be like, chill, it's not that deep. Like, it seems like almost like life, you guys have life in slow motion and time doesn't have 24 hours in a day. Like, you just do it when you want to do it, and um, when you're telling somebody to maybe hurry up, they'll tell you chill. It's not that deep. Is that a fair? Is that a fair representation or?
I mean, personally, I say it a lot to my
Okay.
parents because my mom, she's very, you have to do this and that, that. I can still get it done when I want to get it done. It's not like I'm going to push it, but like, it's not that deep. Honestly, it's actually not that deep. We make older generations, they take life too serious. Like, I feel like they take it like anything can happen this moment and everything. So we just, it's not that deep. I don't know what to say, but it's honestly not that deep.
It really isn't.
Honestly, it's just
So
not that deep.
so okay, so this is where I'm playing devil's advocate, right? You say you want to do it, you will get it done. So fast forward, you're in a workplace
Okay.
and you need to get something done. Are you going to tell your boss that it's not that deep? What are you going to do?
I mean, it's work. Work has to be done. Work will be done. I think the it's not that deep doesn't necessarily even mean like it's not like we're not going to get it done at the time, but um just let me do it my own way. I might very much arrive at the same results at the same time. I will meet the deadline, just that I'm not doing it the way you want me to do it.
Yeah.
And yes, when Peace was talking about her mom, I remembered my mom as well. And my mom would like you to do things the exact way she wants it to be done, in the exact order. But what
Yes.
if I want to start my day with the thing you think I should be ending my day with? As long as I get the work done, why should it bother you so much? So it's not that deep, like, oh, everything is a joke or nothing is actually serious in life. But sometimes the older generations just really need to chill.
Okay. So what about, again, I'm playing devil's advocate as an older generation and being a mother, okay? So what about if your mom throws it back to you and say, Amanda and Peace, when you earn your own money, have your own place, can pay your own bills, you can do whatever you want. But under my roof, I'm sure you've heard that before.
You do that a lot.
Definitely.
But under my roof, I expect you to follow my rules. Is there anything wrong with that?
Personally, I don't think so.
Okay.
With the way my relationship is with my parents, I allow them to, I just allow room for balance, right? Because I'm someone who wants to actually maintain a healthy enough relationship with my parents. So to some extent, it's not everything that I would necessarily argue. So to some extent, I'll just like take their counsel and do things the way they want it to be done. But there will be times when I'll tell them like, you know what, I can do it my own way. And I think his parents actually learn with time. They see that okay, your way actually works. I'll leave it. You're an adult. You're thinking, well, okay, I'll leave you to do this thing the way you want to do it. So that it's just bringing balance to the whole equation.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, like Amanda said, my mom used to be, whenever she comes to my room, I have to do everything she wants me to do at that time. So she came one, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, and she didn't say anything. My room was scattered and everything. She didn't say anything. I had to call her back. Mom, are you fine? And she said, yes, what happened? I said, you're not complaining. She said, you will do it now. So like, we need a balance. You cannot just say, oh, okay, Gen Zs, you need to meet up, especially parents, especially with your children. We need to understand that the way Gen Zs relate with their parents is not the same way we relate with our lecturers or our boss. It's not the same way. So there's
Right.
just this connection with parents that you can just say it's not that deep. Let
Sure.
me bring that back. It's not that deep. And then you know how to, I'll get it done. Let's talk about it. Okay. You want me to do, right? I will do all of these things, but can I do this first? And so conversation is very important.
Let me tell you why your mom left and did not say anything, because she's realized that her mental health too is important. And that she cannot come and kill herself. All right?
I guess
So
we're influencing them.
she's realized as well that, you know what, it's not that deep. For my own mental health, I just gotta leave her alone. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so finally, okay, not finally, I'll ask one more question, but what are some other slangs? So what does it mean when you say meant? That's the other slang I know. Meant. That's so meant.
I think it's just an insult, but in a cute way. You
Okay.
know how you see someone is mental, someone is not
Okay.
yet like
All right.
meant,
Meant.
that kind of
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
And then what else? Give me some other slangs. Teach me.
Per.
Per.
I think tea, like
What
tea
does
gist.
per mean?
So it's like a compliment. Let's say compliment. It's more like if your friend wears a really good outfit, for example, and
Okay.
you're trying to hype the outfit up,
hype.
just like, oh, per, it's giving.
All right. Yeah, I've heard it's given. I've heard
Given,
it's.
yeah.
Which is slay? Slay?
Yes, slay. And then tea. Give me the tea.
Okay, give
Yeah,
me
the
the
tea,
gist.
spill the
Okay.
Yeah,
tea.
yes, with
Mhm.
the tea. Yeah.
And what else? Which other ones? So finally, I would like you to have your final say. Tell us what would you like people to really know about Gen Zs and the older generation. What would you like them to consider from moving forward about you guys, the Gen Z generation?
I need them to know that we're not lazy. I think I'm tired of hearing, oh, you guys are lazy, your generation, when I was your age. We're not lazy.
Right.
We do a lot of things. When you look at it, right, they are doing 9 to 5, just one job. But like you see a lot of Gen Zs, they're taking on, they have a lot of jobs, different brands they are managing, they are influencers, they have like other things. Some of them also take on the 9 to 5 while doing social media and all of that. So we're not lazy. We honestly are not lazy. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say that the other generations should know that Gen Zs are they are equals. Like Gen Zs are sensible thinking, rational human beings who they can interact with just like they would interact with anybody else. They shouldn't look down on Gen Zs or just see them as lesser or see them as, oh, these children that are just making noise.
Yes.
Actually listen to them, actually hear them out. You may find out that, oh, what they've been saying all of this while, it's something that really makes sense. Maybe something you even relate to. Don't be so closed off when interacting with Gen Zs. Like, actually listen to them and accord them the respect that they deserve.
Sorry, let me quickly say something. So I was speaking with people at home, and we was trying to get a man to move his car from my daddy's parking lot. And I was telling him, sir, this is stress pastor because I'm a law student, so I know it. And then one other man came and said, look at this child. Adults are talking, you are talking. Who's your mate here? In my head, I was like, I'm a child because I said this is stressful. So the man said, this one, she's already a final year law student though. But then the other one was like, regardless, she's still a child.
Right.
So Amanda said, you need to respect us. Listen to us. We're not just children. But like, we know what we're doing. I mean, a lot of us, we're exposed to, we've done things with older people too. So you need to know that, okay, beyond the Gen Z or what you think about Gen Z, listen to them.
Amazing. That's great. That's great. I do believe, as a mom of a Gen Z myself, I'm learning every day. I think it's important to listen because I do believe you guys have great ideas. And I think it's a balance of you listening to us listening to you, meeting ourselves in the middle.
Yeah, come on.
But having said that, thank you so much, Peace. Thank you so much, Amanda. I really enjoyed it. I've learned a few new words, and I think that I'm getting to understand the Gen Z generation better. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have learned as much as I have done about the Gen Z deconstructed generation. So till next time, thank you for watching.